All right, my name is Dawson Joseph, and this is my project for Race and Politics. I focused on the aftermath of Black Wall Street and the Tulsa Massacre. So, what was the Tulsa Massacre and this race riot, and what really was Black Wall Street? Uh, Black Wall Street, as we know it and we learned in class, was actually in the Greenwood district of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it rose to prominence in the 1900s to the 1920s. It started on the backbone of the purchase of 40 acres of land by Ottawa W., whom was a black entrepreneur. Ottawa would only sell the land to aspiring black entrepreneurs in an effort to maintain wealth in their own communities and not have to overly rely on a system and a peoples who didn't want them to succeed in the first place. With his purchase and with the selling of buildings and land to these entrepreneurs and the rapid rise, this quickly became the hub for all black entrepreneurs. Across the country, it became extremely affluent and immensely profitable. This same prosperity in the Greenwood area created safe spaces for black people in a time of racial tension, but at the same time caused anger in the white community, and white mobs called for the destruction of the district, which they couldn't do legally, so they took it into their own hands. On May 31st to June 1st, white mobs led a 2-day massacre in what is seen as one of, if not the worst, racially backed attack in American history. So the immediate aftermath. The record shows that there's only 36 deaths that were truly accounted for, but there is an estimation of around 300 deaths as a result of the massacre. It's worth noting that 35 city blocks were destroyed, 1,200 residential homes were destroyed, and 314 homes were looted in the process of the massacre. Immediately following that, the residents that had survived, that were members of the Greenwood district, were then forced into internment camps. In these internment camps, the National Guard ended up forcing men and women to work labor and basically clean up after the damage that they didn't even do. And all of that was done for free. There was no pay, there was no compensation, there was no anything from government officials and officials that presided over Tulsa. So they basically worked virtually as slaves. And the only way that they can be released from the work was if they had a vouch of a white employer or any other white man that could vouch for them, which, if you couldn't guess, didn't really happen too often. So they were basically forced to clean up something that they didn't have any part of and only tried to defend. After hearings and trials, not one singular member of the white mob that was present on the 2 days were charged for what happened in the Tulsa Massacre. Members of the white community and government officials worked to exploit the financial shortcomings of the members that were affected. They worked to deny insurance claims and make them pay out of their own money to rebuild, which in turn got money to go back into their pockets for the damage that they did. They tried to buy properties from them at low prices, seeing that they were desperate, and a lot of other stuff. In today's money, over $200 million of damage was done. 3 buildings that estimated over $3 million, which included a movie theater, a church, and an area, a commonplace area that the residents used, all were destroyed that day. Without adequate support to rebuild, as well as losing everything, they didn't have any money, and reconstruction committees would work to purchase the land for cheap, seeing as the community that lived there desperately needed the money, and further pushed them north, forcing them to relocate. What is Greenwood today? They seeked reparations, but they didn't really get it. Most claims were denied or found ineligible. Again, residents of Greenwood were forced to clean up and rebuild, but they didn't have nearly as much wealth as they once did. They would be victims of redlining, federal highways, and eminent domain. And today, the Greenwood district is not as affluent and struggles to stay afloat, but there's still many black businesses that fight to keep the memory of the city alive. And here are my references.